issue with as good a data you have is the results you're going to get. And so you want to be careful in saying that every sort of case that you want to model that you're going to find have the right information for decision makers. And I think we need to be careful with that. And maybe the uncertainty analysis functionality that we're going to add will inform that. But you don't want to always say this is the end all be all. You just want to use it as a first cut to get an estimate of where carbon is spatially throughout the landscape, and then proceed from there with better data gathering methods and models, and more sophisticated working models. When models are good because it's flexible and simple, minimal data requirements, it's not so good because there's assumptions that are involved, all sorts of dynamics. So that's just a trade-off. Models are good, they're not perfect, they all have issues, and so just sort of taking the cake of that. Does that make sense? Yes.
You mentioned that this model is not appropriate, precise visual analysis. It means that I'm wondering how much monetary evaluation information can be made into this model. Eventually, I think the policymaker would like to know what is the money out of it. I mean, it's great to give them physical impacts and with the numbers, but the top level of decision makers, they always wanted to know how much money or benefit cost it so that they can make decisions based on that. So I'm wondering if you have a plan to develop this model toward more precise benefit cost.
I'm actually the director of carbon too, so if I handed this to somebody on our team, you should definitely contact me and I can put you in touch with the people who do work on improving this model. They might have a different answer, but my answer would be you can certainly do some sensitivity testing. So a lot of people get concerned with running this model, and they really, all of our models, they say I need absolutely the best information available, and I'm not going to run until I get that. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're never going to get the perfect information, right? But running a scenario, running a model, even if your data isn't exact, it's not a bad thing. It's okay to learn where your data gaps are, what you messed up in, or what, do some sensitivity testing. So that's what I would actually recommend. You're saying you're trying to establish a carbon market, you don't know what the rate should be. Run the model 5 times at low and upper estimates and compare it. See how sensitive the results are to different prices of carbon. And so scenarios can be used with both looking at different futures, but also doing sensitivity testing in terms of how sensitive specific inputs are and how that affects the results. But I'm happy to direct you to some more of the
so you do the same thing for all R, but you want to see, just want to show you how it works. Okay? Video.
Thank you very much. Can you just, is there somewhere that we could download some of this data where we have on everything and just some of the related data which is already there or there?
I see. Because,
when you say download data, you're talking about like global stuff, or are you talking about specific stuff?
Yeah.
But if I have much more time, I will give you, all.
So in our user's guide, it's a little overwhelming, but there's actually an online version that's completely searchable, so you don't have to skip through thousands or hundreds of pages of other models. If you're interested in carbon, you just click on the table of contents and it'll bring you right to the carbon chapter, and in there we have IPCC estimates for carbon storage for different biomes and different ecoregions. So again, this is not the best estimates, but if you're looking to get a start and just sort of get a rough sense of what's going on in your area of interest, you can use our user's guide and some of the IPCC estimates to provide that. As far as land cover, there are global land cover data sets, but they're fairly coarse, meaning the pixels are really big, so they're fairly generalized. So again, if you're looking for first cut, it might be helpful, but if you're looking for something as detailed as I just showed you, you're going to have to be there to spend the time to have somebody use remote sensing or some satellite image analysis to create a land cover map, or working to find out what stakeholders to actually get your own data. One other interesting thing is a colleague of mine from Kenya is actually developing a scenario generator. So you might know what the current land cover looks like, land use land cover is, but you don't know what the future is. And so based on stakeholder input, he has created a tool where you can actually model what you might expect land cover to look like in the future. So, like for example, if you're missing data in your area, you don't know in a development-heavy sort of future how my land cover is going to change and how it will feed that into the market model. You can use another tool which will be available this year, by December, to actually do that. So we have some tools to help generate future data sets. As far as the current situation, sometimes you just have to go through that road of looking for it or spending money to produce your own if you don't have it, in addition to the global layers that are available.
I'm showing you inputs.
Yes.
Do you have experience with the process of when and the whole decision-making process? Because I would see that maybe such models are helpful in playing with data and getting to know the area and understanding the trade-offs, not to get precise numbers, but to understand the situation you're in. And then from this playing with data, you then step back and incorporate other information as well when it comes to the decision making actually. So it's not that you have an outcome, the output of the map, and then that's your decision. Right?
Great point. Yeah, I think
the value of Invest in a whole, there are specific success stories that I can mention that we've actually used to inform decision making, and people have actually changed how they allocate oyster reefs or whatever it is in the landscape. Invest is all about getting discussion started with stakeholders and others who are involved in the process. So you run these models, they're not prescriptive, they're not saying this is what you have to do, this is the final solution. It's just saying, let's get the discussion started, this is what we produce with these maps. You might have another tool that produces something different, let's compare them, let's look into our scenarios and understand what's going on, just like you said, very well said. So, we don't want these results to be like something that you have to go with and that it's the sort of final verdict in a decision-making context. It's just to get the discussion started and move from there. Just like you said, going back to the drawing board, redevelop your scenarios, talk to people, gather more data, run more models, whatever you need to do. So I'm hopeful the valuation component in the second half of the session will start to talk about ways that we can actually look at not only biophysical but economic currencies with this sort of assessments. Is there one more question? We should start wrapping up.
I just wanted to ask you about the technical soundness of the software.
Right now,
when you're coming up with figures, because you have now recently mentioned investments in buying figures. And then based on this, you run this invest and we get accurate estimation of the carbon. Isn't it? So there is no problem in actually, so it's not only serve as a guideline. Can come up with numbers which are far more clever than the course data that you can get from NASA with the image and then you start the downstream logic, basically the resolution of it. That is going to play a huge role in deciding the topic. This is something that you clarify. Because estimations will be dependent on the resolution of the image. Yeah. I'm just clarify that the soundness of this technique and the software, that you, if you have a very good quality image, your carbon estimations would be near to perfect. Yeah?
So, on a model by model basis, it also depends because we're ignoring certain dynamics that I mentioned before, climate and other things that are going on. So it's not incorporating everything, but the point he's trying to make is there's different resolution of data. So what you saw here was those pixel maps. They can be really small, which means fine scale, which basically means that they're very detailed. And somebody went through a survey, like a LiDAR survey, where they have a meter accuracy or even less, sometimes sub-meter accuracy. A lot of times globally you'll see maps that are 100 meters or 1,000 meters, and that's very coarse. And so your results are really sort of dictated by the inputs you put in. So it's not just the uncertainty of your carbon stuff, it's also land cover driven and things like that. So yeah, I mean, you take everything with a grain of salt, and it's just depending on how detailed your information is, the better your results are going to be. So Holly made a great point. If you have any other further questions about carbon or just investment modeling in general, I'm happy to talk after the session or at lunch. But let's just quickly hear your thoughts and some of your answers for the Sumatra example, the case study we had.
I think it might be a good idea if you get everybody around one table. I mean, you don't need your laptops to get everybody on the middle. Okay. Sit right in the middle.
Sit or stand. So we all worked on the Sumatra one, so I don't think we need to necessarily introduce the background again. I think you all have a good idea. So maybe we'll go straight to the questions section.
You see the colors here? There. We usually see the big thing. You see these are results like this.
So the first question on the map, so you want to label the areas that have the highest carbon stocks. So
yeah. So this is for the GIS issue. I mean,
so where did you all, what province or district did you find the highest carbon stocks? Just one shout out.
Pretty much saying if you run the other model, different layers to use, you just provide or fill out.
Or maybe we can just say directionally, where was the highest carbon stocks in the current situation? Was it in the north, south, east, or west?
So you can
northeast. How about sediment retention?
And use the guy.
And water yield.
You may prepare your own.
All over, it's pretty spatially there. More central and south. Good. Okay. And then on the map, circle and label areas that have the highest value for agriculture.
Here is
Northwest. Basically, just